If you've been thinking about quitting your job and starting a freelance business, this video could be the spark. I'm going to show you exactly how to go from no clients and no clarity to a high value, scalable, and sustainable freelance business in 7 days, or at least how to get started. And not in like a theoretical, motivational kind of way, but in a step-by-step, here's exactly what to do each day kind of way. I'm going to show you the tools that you can implement, the strategies that you're going to be employing, the templates, offers, and systems that six-figure freelancers are using right now to build their businesses. No fluff, no, fake, just believe in yourself type paplum, just real strategy for people who want to make money, who want to work for themselves, and who want to get going on this stuff, who want to get going now, not a few months from now. This is a proper masterclass. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but it's going to be long. It's free, it's detailed, it's deep, and it's everything that I wish I had when I started freelancing. So here's what we're going to cover. You'll learn how to pick a freelance niche that people actually pay for. You're going to learn how to craft a freelance offer that feels like a no-brainer to your clients, how to create a portfolio even if you have zero client work, how to land your first freelance job fast, and how to build a system that helps you replace your 9-to-5 income without burning out. And more importantly, you'll get the mindset shifts that are going to help you finally stop asking for permission and start building something that's actually yours. This is for people who are still in a job, but are maybe dreaming of starting their own thing, building their own asset. Maybe you're a designer, a writer, marketer, a developer, a VA, a strategist, or maybe you're in sales or a coordinator at a big corporation. Maybe you're already on the freelancing side, but you don't have systems yet, or you've been thinking about starting. You're already in that camp. But you're paralyzed because you don't have the information that's needed to simplify this process for you. This video is going to walk you through that launch process. You'll leave with a roadmap, but more importantly, you're going to leave with the confidence to take real action this week. I'm going to give you homework for each day of the week so that at the end of this process, you've got something that's actually going to work for you. Here's the thing most people get wrong about freelancing. They think they need a perfect website or 1,000 followers on social media or a personal brand before they can make money. Not true. In fact, I lasted 15 years in my freelance business without any of those things, without a website, without social media, without a personal brand online. What you need is a clear offer, a valuable problem to solve, and a way to get in front of the right people to position that offer in front of the right people. Freelancing isn't about building a huge operation and a bunch of systems overnight. It's about building a tiny system that gets you that first $1,000 client, who then becomes a $2,000 client, and then that leads to your $5,000 client. And then before you know it, you're free. So you're ready to start? Let's dive into day one. We're going to figure out exactly what kind of freelancer you're going to be. Oh, and if you don't know me and you're wondering why the hell you should take my word for it, hi, I'm Jamie. I've been freelancing for 16 years now, probably a little over 16 years now. I've grown a community of over 500,000 freelancers on social media, giving them advice on how to grow successful, sustainable businesses. We have a freelancing program with over 1,000 freelancers in there building their businesses together. A lot of my content is based on my experiences working for clients like Google and Netflix, but more importantly, with dozens of other clients that nobody's ever heard of, mom and pop shops and boring B2B companies that are more fun to work with and pay better than those big guys anyways. Okay, let's get going. Let's start with day one, choosing your freelance lane. This is how you decide what kind of freelancer you're going to be, based not on the service that you provide, but on what problem you solve. You don't have to have the perfect idea to get you started here, but you do need to decide what kind of freelance work you're going to do and who you're going to do it for. Here's how most new freelancers mess this up. They pick something too vague, like graphic designer, or something too broad, like anything creative. That's how you end up saying yes to a bunch of work that you don't want. And nobody really knows like what good you are or like what you're there for. It also makes lead generation an absolute bitch. So let's fix that. The best freelance businesses start with problem first thinking. Business is the exchange of money for solutions to problems. And the more specific the problem you solve, or the more painful the problem you solve, the easier it is to find clients and the more you get to charge for it. So instead of asking, what services do I want to offer? Ask, what real world problems can I solve with the thing that I specialize in? And who wants those problems solved? Who's actively searching for a solution to those problems? This is how you move from a generic service provider to an easy yes. So grab a blank sheet of paper or open up a doc on your computer or something, and start by answering this. First, what skills do I already have that could help someone make money, save time, or remove risk? Those are the three things that any client is actually going to be buying from you. And then the next thing that you're going to write down in that doc or on that piece of paper is, where have I already solved problems like this before? Even if it's at your 9 to 5. This could be writing, design, strategy, ops, marketing, editing, doesn't matter. And then finally, the last thing that you're going to write down is, who do I naturally understand? Who do I naturally understand? Whether because you've worked with them, or you've worked for them, or you are them. This is your network. This is how you build trust, and this is how you scale a business quickly, right? This is going to be your edge. A few common newbie mistakes to avoid in this situation. Don't just pick your last job title and try to sell it as a service. It's lazy. It's not going to work. Don't try and serve everyone, even if you technically could. Again, specificity is rewarded, especially when you're getting started with a freelance business. And then don't choose a niche. Don't choose an avatar to solve problems for that isn't actively spending money, because you're entering a world of pain if you go that route. And always remember what we said at the beginning of this little section. People don't buy services; they buy solutions to problems that they care about. Oh, little extra credit. If you want to pressure test this idea fast, go onto the job markets like Upwork or Fiverr or Contra, what have you, and search keywords related to the lane that you're thinking of choosing. Ask, are people hiring for this? What kind of clients are posting RFPs like in Upwork for something like this? What words do they use to describe their pain, to describe the problem that they're trying to solve? If you want, you can enlist ChatGPT in this effort. Just literally like copy and paste some RFPs, put it into ChatGPT and say, this is what I'm trying to do here. Can you help me kind of map out what the most common problems are here for this niche? By the end of day one, you win if you have a working hypothesis for what your freelance lane is going to be. Not your forever niche, not your dream brand that you want to work with, just a clear direction of where you're headed here. Because clarity creates momentum, and momentum beats perfect every time. So let's give you some homework for day one. First thing, write down what skills you want to monetize. What is it that you know how to do that you want to put to work against a particular problem? Next, brainstorm 3 to 5 types of people or businesses that you want to help solve a problem. And I would, if I were you, prioritize, industries that are overrepresented in your network, right? If you've got a bunch of friends and family in one industry, I'd give that industry a hard look because you're likely going to grow there much faster than if you just picked something that you've got no network in. And then finally, choose one lane to commit to for the rest of this week, this 7-day sprint to starting a freelance business. Choose one problem that you're going to solve, right? And tomorrow, on day 2, we'll take this positioning and turn it into an offer that makes it very easy for clients to draw a line from spending money with you to getting some sort of a return on that investment, which is what you're looking for. We don't need to make this any harder than it needs to be. All right, day 2, let's build your freelance offer. Let's take that niche from yesterday and turn it into an offer that people actually want to pay for. Here's what most freelancers say when you ask what they offer, if they even understand what an offer is. They'll say, oh, I do graphic design, or yeah, nice to meet you, I build websites. Or, what do you do? Oh, I make logos. But when they say that, I'll let you in on a little secret. Here's what clients hear. They hear, oh, I'm generic. Or, oh, I'm replaceable. Or I'm hard to justify at a premium, right? You don't need to spend that much money on me. I'm a commodity. Day 2 is about fixing that. It's about turning your skill set into a solution, because people don't buy services. As we know from day 1, they buy solutions. They buy outcomes. Clients aren't hiring you for your skill. They're hiring you to fix a business problem. So ask yourself, what's the pain this client's trying to eliminate, and what's the result that they would happily pay for? This is how you go from freelancer to valuable business asset, or as I like to put it, strategic partner. So let's build a minimum viable offer, something simple, sellable, profitable. Use this 3-part formula. First, what problem do you solve? Second, for whom do you solve that problem? And third, to what result do you solve that problem? Let's write those down. You can either pause the video now and fill in those blanks now, or do it after, but flag that. That's a very important formula. What problem do you solve, for who, and to what result? Now, here's how I've seen that play out, just to give you some examples. Here's a good one. I write launch emails for new SaaS products to help drive early traction. Another freelancer, I build Notion dashboards for consultants who need to clean up their workflow. Or I do product photography for small e-commerce brands so they stop losing attention on their landing page. You should be able to say your offer in 10 seconds or less, like you're explaining it to a buddy at a bar. If you need a paragraph to explain what you do, your offer's not ready yet. You got to simplify that bad boy. I guess at this stage of the week, we might as well talk about rate as well, about how to price an offer. Here's a tip that you're not going to find in most freelancing videos. Don't price what the market says you should price. Heavy air quotes on the market. Don't price what you need to survive. Price what it would cost you to subcontract the job and live off the margin, right? So do a little research to figure out how much it would cost you to hire another freelancer at your skill level to get the job done, and then put a percentage on top of that that would get you the margin that you need to live. So if you want to make $80K and you can take on 40 projects a year, it's like a small productized offer, and you want a 25% buffer for margin, you're not taking projects under $2,500. Pricing this way gives you room to grow, and it helps you build what's called a business instead of building what's called a job, right? Because if you only make money when you're at work, then you don't own a business, you own a job. You need something that doesn't rely on you being at the desk to generate income. Let's make this real world though, because you may make that calculation and think, nobody's going to pay me that much money as I'm getting started. Or you might take a look at your network and say, I've got no direct path to somebody that can pay me that much money in these first 3 months. That's fine. Think of this number as it's a goal. That's the direction you're heading with your price. Maybe just put it at the top of the bracket when you present a budget range to a client. Just always remember when you're negotiating a budget to negotiate the scope of work and not your fee, but that's a whole other video. And then my last point on that topic is, don't price your wallet, price your clients. So, if you're looking at your network and you're thinking, gosh, who would pay that for this? You'd be surprised, right? So don't give up before you even get started here. Like, have a couple at-bats at that number, at that floor rate, what it would cost you to hire a subcontractor and still make your margin. Test it. See what happens. All right, back to talking about your offer. If you want to sound like an expert, here's kind of a pro tip. Give your service a structure. Like give it some branding, right? Like a 3-phase launch email system, or a brand clarity sprint, or the visual upgrade package, right? Most freelancers have a process, but they don't name it. And when you name it, you own it. You're planting your flag in it. It makes you look 10 times more professional. And if you can name it in a way that conveys, exactly what it is, it's an excellent kind of expert form of communication. How you communicate your efficacy to a client. All right. So today's homework. Your job today on day 2 is to package your offer in a way that's clear and valuable. So answer these questions. What service are you offering? 1. 2, who's it for? 3, what specific result does it deliver? 4, what's the minimum you need to charge to hit your goals? And 5, can you name your process or framework in a simple way? Write your offer down using that fill in the blank sentence. I solve blank problem for blank person to blank result, and then get to work on pricing and framework. And then on day 3, tomorrow, we'll take this offer and turn it into a system so you can deliver great work without burning out, because that's a crucial component to this whole thing. Is you want to be delivering at phenomenal work that encourages repeat business. All right, day 3. We're going to call this day Design Your Process. Today, you're going to build a simple professional freelance process that makes clients trust you, even if you have no clue, even if you've never done this before. Most freelancers waste weeks, if not months, on things that don't matter, like a banging portfolio or a website, or, if you can believe it, still business cards. But what you really need to book clients is a basic system. Like, what happens when the client says yes? How do you keep things moving? How do you deliver in a way that inspires trust for future work? Which is the goal. The foundation of any successful freelance business isn't landing new clients, it's landing repeat clients. That's where you get the trophy. So today we're going to build that. And no, you don't need fancy software. You just need clarity. So let's get on that. Stage 1, it's called onboarding. Onboarding is what happens after a client says yes and before you do any work. You need to make this experience smooth, confident, and repeatable. As humans, we remember the beginnings and the ends of things. So this is the beginning of your working relationship with a client. You want to make it memorable for the right reasons. You want to encourage them, get them excited that they just made a fantastic hire. So here's what to include in this stage. First, a welcome message. This could be in email form or a Loom if you want to personalize it a little bit, dealer's choice. Next would be an intake questionnaire. I've seen people use Typeform for this, a Google form, Notion as well. And you use that to gather inputs from the client, the things that you're going to need for the project, whether that be assets, billing information, contact information for, relevant parties. It's going to be different for every type of service and every offer. And then lastly, you want to deliver a kickoff date and a delivery timeline. And this is a production schedule that includes when they're going to be seeing things that they're going to need to assess and deliver you notes on, and when their notes are due. Right? It's a schedule. It's not just what you're on the hook for, but it's what they're on the hook for too. When assets are due, when notes are due, and what happens when any of that changes. Like if they're 2 days late on their notes, that could have a week-long impact on the final delivery schedule, right? So you want to get everybody on the same sheet of music about their responsibilities there. Pro tip, they don't expect fancy here. They expect clarity, all right? So keep this stuff as short and simple as possible. Remember, they're entering a new world by working with you. You're the expert. This is your realm. They don't know all the jargon. They don't know, the ins and outs of your profession. You want to keep it as simple and as not terrifying to them as humanly possible. So after all said and done on the sales call front and payment comes in, just send a short email that says like, awesome, I'll send you a Google form today and grab everything I need, and I'll have a first draft to you by whatever, check the production schedule attached. That makes you instantly sound legit. Like no jargon, no paragraphs of bullshit, right? Those are just all $2 words, and you're letting them know what's coming down the pike. All right, stage 2 of your process is pre-production. And pre-production is all about getting aligned before you waste time building something that's off strategy. This is where you confirm the goal of the project, ask clarifying questions about their audience or tone or their brand, share examples, samples or references to make sure that you guys are all on the same page when it comes to implementation. Think of this as your quality insurance step, right? It's how you prevent those awkward this isn't what we were hoping for conversations, right? That a lot of creatives desperately try to avoid in the early days. Get their sign off on direction here before moving on to the next step. You want approval on pre-production. I always tell my clients, I want to iterate on the cheap side of this project, right? Because it's very easy to iterate and handle notes when we're working with a draft, like a pencil sketch. And it's a lot more costly in time and dollars to iterate on the other side of the project when everything's been produced and everything's locked. And changing something means, unpacking all this work that's already been done, making that small change, and then redoing all the work that you'd already done. Stage 3 of your process is production, and this is where the work happens. And this is also where most freelancers disappear. You don't need to update your client, every hour, but you do need to keep them confident that the project's moving. There's a lot of invisible work that's likely going to be done that is happening, but your client doesn't know it's happening. So to them, they just dropped a bunch of money in your lap, signed off on, pre-production, and then you disappeared. So let's hedge against that in this stage and include a midpoint check-in. Just send them something that's like, hey, this is just a quick update. Everything's on track. We're going to get you delivery on Thursday. And when that happens, you'll have 3 days. Stand by. We're working hard for you. And then also what helps is just a basic project tracker, so they don't have to rely on your communication. They can just check in whenever they want. This can be hosted on a Notion or a Trello, or even just kind of an automated email that you send with a checklist. Pro tip, go ahead and create that checklist of steps for each problem you solve, for each thing that you offer. Make that checklist now so you don't have to do it every time you land a new client. All right, stage 4, the final stage in your process is delivery. The project isn't done when the file is sent. The project is done when the client feels like the job was handled end to end, right? So here's what to include here. obviously, a final file delivery, in a nice clean Google folder or Drive or, transfer file, whatever, you want to use there. And then a wrap-up email that includes what you delivered, a short thank you, and then optionally, but, if you're asking me, definitely a short pitch for the next gig, right? This is something that you ideally have teased during the project. Maybe you've had a quick 5-10 minute meeting about it before delivery. But what's the next thing? What's the next problem that they're likely going to be solving once you hand them this thing? What is it that, once your client has the website, then what do they have to do? What's the next problem they have to solve to make more money or save more time, or mitigate more risk, right? Or once you hand them the logo, then what are they going to do with that logo? What problem do they have now that you can solve? So in that final email, tease that next project. Say, let's act. I like to act as if it's almost we've already decided that we're going to go ahead with it, right? I deliver the final, and then let's schedule something for Thursday to chat about this. Just get it on their calendar. Optional bonus things to do here at the delivery stage would be to ask for a testimonial. If you can just send them a quick kind of guided link to, hey, answer these 3 questions, and then those answers are great, for your testimonials. And you could also ask for a referral, though that's not my favorite go-to, especially with a first-time client. Usually I'm asking for a referral on like the 3rd or 4th project with a client, but figured I'd add that into your bonus moves here. So today's goal was to create your delivery process using 4 stages. So in a doc, let's write those down. First, item number 1, what happens when a client says yes? That's your onboarding stage. Item number 2, how will you align before you get started implementing? That's your pre-production stage. Item number 3, what will your production flow look like? When will you update your clients? How are you internally going to go about delivering this product? And then number 4, how will you wrap the project professionally? What does your delivery look like? I want you to have this stuff buttoned up before you have your first client. I don't want you laying this track in front of the train. I don't want you thinking, oh shit, what was I supposed to do here? And no, have it all written out. It's, again, take that off your plate. You've got your process figured out. So when you do land a client, you just read the instructions. Okay, stage 1, I'm going to do this. And then stage 2, I'm going to do this. And stage 3, I'm going to do this. And stage 4, I'm going to do this. And at the end of those 4 stages, I'm going to have this client ready for a second project. I'm going to get paid again. Don't build something fancy. Just build something that works. You'll already be ahead of 90% of freelancers. Trust me. Now, tomorrow, day 4, I'm going to show you how to create an advanced portfolio, even if you've never worked with a client before. That's going to be a major asset for you when it comes time to start generating your own leads. All right, day 4. Today we are building a portfolio. No clients, no problem. I'll show you how to build a portfolio that hooks attention and that gets results, so that we can remedy that whole no clients thing. If you're sitting around waiting for a client before you build a portfolio, you're likely going to be sitting there for a very long time, because it's tough. It's the first few months of freelancing. It's tough. It's tough to find your first few clients. It's nearly impossible to do it without any examples of what the end result of working with you looks like. Most freelancers wait way too long to build something that proves that they can actually do the thing that they're asking for money for. And as a result, they feel really stuck and they feel helpless, essentially powerless in this journey. And then they head to the internet to talk about it, and it scares other people off from ever getting started. So let's fix this here. Here's the truth: you don't need client work to prove your value. You just need evidence that you understand the problem that you're solving. and you can deliver a real solution. And today, we're going to build exactly that. A portfolio isn't just a collection of screenshots. It's proof that you know how to solve the problem that your leads, the people that you want to give you money, are already thinking about. So think of your portfolio as a set of case studies, not a gallery, right? There are a few very straightforward objectives that we're trying to hit here. Your goal is to show what the problem was, what you did to solve it was, and what the outcome was. And you can show this even if you made it up. That's the majesty of personal projects. If you don't have any client work yet, do this instead. Choose a realistic prompt from the real world and solve it. So, for example, if you want to work with independent restaurants, redesign a local cafe's signage and menu. If you want to work with creators, write landing page copy for a course that doesn't exist yet. If you want to work with B2B startups, create an onboarding sequence for a fake SaaS product. If you're coming up empty, if you can't think of anything, here's a pro tip: go to Upwork, or go to Contra, and scan the RFPs there, and just act like you got one of those jobs and go do it. You could also do these things for yourself, right? Treat yourself as the client. Let yourself be the case study, if that makes sense for your offer. Here's how to frame personal projects like a pro. First and foremost, label it clearly. You don't want to try and pull one over on anybody. Most people looking at it will know. So call it out. Just say this is a personal concept project, or spec work, or a problem-solving sample. Put some branding behind it, but label it clearly. Then explain who it's for, what the challenge was, and how you approached it. And as a bonus, use like mock data or context from real-world examples to make it feel grounded. So if you don't have primary data yet, where some freelancers who've been at it for a little bit will be able to say, hey, my clients see a 28% boost in XYZ when they do this, right? So you don't have that yet, but you do have the internet, and you can do some secondary research and see what industry norms are. Usually if you include a VSL on a landing page, what does that do to click-through rate? If let's go back to the menu example for the restaurants, it's like, do the research to see what certain designs do how they translate to, increased ticket sales or increasing the value of a table at the restaurant. Clients don't care if you were paid for it. They care if it looks like you can solve their problem. So optimize for that. So where do we host this thing? Don't get stuck building a website. All right. It's just like, unless you're a developer and it's like an afternoon of work for you. But likely if you're a developer, you'll get precious with it and it'll be 2 months of work for you. Don't get stuck, right? Keep it simple. My portfolio lived in a folder on Google for the majority of my career. Other people use Notion. Some people use Figma. Some people use the LinkedIn featured section where they'll pin their best projects there. That's an interesting move. But the objective is getting this done as quickly as possible. Optimize for speed here. Choose one that makes sense for you. Ooh, pro tip: pair each sample with like a 1-paragraph case study, and if you can, add like a 30-second loom explaining your process, like how you worked through that problem. Just add a little personality to the whole thing. So today's homework: choose 1 to 2 sample projects based on the problem that you solve, and the niche that you solve it for, right? So either come up with those on your own, or do your research on Upwork or Canva or what have you. Solve a real problem using your freelance skill set. So just make that thing today. right? Hopefully you're watching this video in the morning. Make that thing in the next 24 hours. Don't get too precious with it. Just make an example of your solution. And then add, like I said, a short write-up, a short paragraph. Who's it for? Why you did the things you did and what the results of that solution were. And then finally, package it in a Notion page or a Google folder or, a LinkedIn resources or what have you. Okay, get all that done because tomorrow we're going to use this portfolio to activate your network. And I'll show you how to start getting work from people you already know using these assets. Even if, and potentially, especially if they don't seem like your ideal clients yet. All right, it's day 5, and we're talking about activating your network. You don't need to find strangers to hire you. You just need to let other people that already know you know how to send work your way. Most freelancers start too cold. Here's what most do when they start. They build a portfolio, maybe post once or twice on LinkedIn, and then start scouring job boards like Upwork and Contra, where you're renting their lead generation efforts rather than going to the effort of building your own lead generation engine. And look, that can work, but if you skip activating your network, you're missing out on the easiest way to land gigs when you're just getting started freelancing, like bar none, hands down. So today's goal is going to be simple. We're going to reach out to people who already know, like, and trust you, and we're going to give them a way to help. So let's be real. You already know people, and those people know people. And if we want to be dramatic, those people know people. So you're one introduction away from your first or next client, but only if they understand what you do and who you help. So the goal today isn't to beg for work. It's to activate people who are already in your corner, who want to be supportive, and turn them into your referral army. Give them the words to use, give them the supplies to go out there and help you, because that's what they want. So here's a simple, no cringe, as the kids would say, script that gets you leads without sounding desperate. Hey, name, I wanted to share something I'm working on. I'm officially offering specific service for type of client to help with type of outcome. If you know anyone who could use help with that, feel free to connect us. No pressure at all. You can just forward this email. Just wanted to put it on your radar. So what that might look like for a designer, it could be like, hey, Jen, just launched my freelance design offer. I'm working with small food and beverage brands to upgrade their packaging and product visuals. If you know anyone in that world, I'd love an intro. And then you include a link to your Notion or your Google Drive or wherever you decided to host those 1 or 2 examples of what you do, and encourage them to just forward that email, right? It's no effort on their part. They get to help you for the low price of clicking the forward button and typing in a friend's name. And an important thing to note here, this is not a mass email blast. It's a targeted, friendly check-in, 1-to-1. So each one of these emails should be constructed, should be handmade, right? Don't just copy paste. You want each one of these emails to feel personal, to reference personal things from your relationship with that person. You don't want them to feel like they just got a mass text that 50 other people got. Start with old coworkers, family members, friends, past clients from any previous work, even your 9-to-5, LinkedIn connections who are active, internet buddies who you've had conversations with over the years. Make your goal to send like 10 to 20 messages. Definitely not 1, definitely not 100. Somewhere in the middle there, right? Because you want to be optimizing for quality of messaging and make sure that you're actually activating members in your network who likely have a few people that they could throw your way. And then even if no one responds immediately, trust me, they're noticing. They're keeping watch. Keep these people warm. You can do that a number of ways. You can post projects to LinkedIn, post strategies and insights to LinkedIn. We have a video on the YouTube channel that has a lot more detailed LinkedIn tips. So definitely go check that one out. It's all about networking, I think, is the video. Share client wins and takeaways. Comment on their content on social media so they get used to seeing your face, and they're recommended some of your posts on social. And sending quick congrats when they post big news. Remember, people want to help, but they forget. Your job is to remind them that you exist, but in a generous way, not in a needy way. You're not, Oliver Twist with the hat out. Please, can I have some work? You're somebody who's out there making it happen, and who's supporting them, in their journey, and who they're probably out there trying to find a way to support back. Today's homework. First, write your 3-part network message. Second, make a list of 15 to 20 people that you can send it to. Third, send 10 messages today. Reply to any warm leads right away. And then finally, post one of your portfolio projects on LinkedIn or Instagram with a short caption that's just like, hey, just wrapped up this sample project. I'm really excited to be kicking off this journey. Let me know if you know anyone who's trying to solve this problem, right? Because remember, people are buying solutions to problems. They're not buying, whatever your portfolio piece was. And then tomorrow we're going to dig into cold leads and how to use job boards like a pro, because a lot of people are misusing. And then I'll give you a copy paste template that we use to actually get replies over on sites like Upwork. All right, day 6. We're trudging right along here. Today we're going to talk about using job boards without wasting a whole bunch of time. You don't need to live on Upwork. You just need to know how to use it the smart way, so you can land work without selling your soul, or at the very least without selling your calendar. Here's what everyone gets wrong about job boards. Most freelancers either spend hours scrolling through Upwork and never reply to anything because they think they're unqualified, or because they're only getting like trash jobs on the Upwork feed, or they apply to everything and they burn out after 15 ghosted proposals that never got a reply. They paid money for the connections and nothing. Radio silence. So here's the truth. Job boards work if you know how to use them strategically, not desperately. So today we're going to show you how to scan job boards the smart way, give you some DM messaging tips for sounding like a human that can get the job done, and help you identify and win high trust jobs, and jobs that actually develop into bigger relationships with clients, not just like race to the bottom gigs that you probably hear a lot about when people mention these platforms. Upwork, Contra, Fiverr, these sites are all databases. You can use them to see what kind of work people are actually hiring for, spy on pricing expectations, steal real-world language for your offer page, for your case studies, and for your messaging when you reach out to these people on the platform. A pro tip when it comes to searching on these platforms, don't just search by skill. So don't just filter by graphic designer and then that's what you get. Search by problem, right? Like search for launch strategy, or customer onboarding, or content repurposing. What you get a sense of the language that your ideal clients are using to find your solution, and search for that as opposed to what your service is. That's also where you're going to find the clients who know what they want, by the way. And those are the guys that are most likely to pay real money for real help. So let's talk about how to apply once you find that match, once you find that good job. Nobody wants to read a 6-paragraph proposal. In fact, usually it's the shorter proposals that win. Put yourself in the client's shoes. And if you can, I advise that you actually do engage with Upwork as a client, like post a job on Upwork to understand what it is the client is experiencing, because likely they've got 20 to 70 applications. Now, imagine you've got 40 applications to get through, and you open up application number 28, and it's 6 paragraphs long. Are you even going to bother at that point? Are you just going to move on to the next one, assuming that in those 40 applications, a third of them probably would fit the bill? So you're just kind of looking for a vibe match at that point. So what people are looking for in those proposals is confidence, clarity, and a reason to book a call with that freelancer. So use this cold pitch framework. Feel free. In this instance, it is a little more quantity over quality. So feel free to copy and paste something like this. Hi, insert client name. Just read your listing. This sounds like something I'd be great for. I've helped similar business or industry here solve similar problem by doing quick summary of what you do. I have a few ideas just from reading the post. Would you be open to a quick call or a Loom walkthrough? Right? So what you've done there in, what was that? Literally 3 sentences, is in a short and confident way demonstrated that you have a history of solving the problem they're trying to solve, and you've pushed the conversation ahead. Let's get on the phone. Let me get in the room with you, so we can strategize together. That way you can demonstrate what it's like working with you and what you're like as a strategic partner, right? Because there's not much you can do with text in a message. You want to get them on a phone, or you want to, at the very least, get a Loom sent over. If you apply to 5 to 10 jobs intentionally, with that level of intentionality, where you're really getting specific about matching offer to need, you will get replies. You don't need 50 jobs. You don't need to shotgun blast Upwork. You just need 2 or 3 people to say, yeah, I think this guy gets it, or I think this girl gets it. I think we should give this person a shot put under work. And then remember, on these platforms and in life, once you land one job, you're no longer untested, right? You now have a real world example of you solving a problem. You have a testimonial, you have workflow, you have momentum, and don't forget that on any platform, it's the people with the real world examples that tend to win. It's the people with the high review counts or a good number of testimonials that usually win. So if you optimize for that from the get-go, you're going to do pretty well. So today's homework. First, pick 1 or 2 platforms to dominate, right? So rather than try to get really good at them all, pick like Upwork and Contra, and go all in on those 2. Understand how those platforms work, what the clients are looking for, what the platform rewards, and start optimizing. Search your niche on those platforms in the way we talked about. Use the proposal template that we just discussed and apply to at least 3 jobs. All right, you got to do that today. If possible, record a 1-minute Loom for each of those proposals that says, here's what I do, here's why, and here's how fast I can get started. And, no pressure, but like use that 1 minute to demonstrate your personality a little bit. Not saying goof off or anything, but like, demonstrate that you're going to be a pleasure to work with. But above all, that you're going to be an excellent strategic partner, right? I mean, honestly, by sending a Loom, you're already standing above most of the people they're probably engaging with. So that's going to do a lot of that work for you. But use that opportunity to talk like a strategic partner talks. All right. And now tomorrow, day 7, we'll take everything that you've built, your offer, your process, your sample work, and launch your freelance presence on social media. So I'll show you how to use social to build trust, to build, a lead generation, essentially, not just to build a follow count and likes, because there are people that have plenty of that have none of what you're actually looking for over there. So get to it, do your homework, and I'll see you on day 7. Okay, today we're going to make your freelance business real in the eyes of the internet. Let's be honest. A lot of new freelancers are secretly freelancing. They're waiting until they have more clients or more work to tell the world what they're up to. But today's the day that you put it out there. You tell the world, here's what I'm offering, here's who I'm helping, and here's how to work with me. You're not begging. You're just making it easy for people to understand what it is you do and how to hire you, which is the important part. Social media isn't about being loud. It's about being understood. Most people won't remember your job title, but they will remember your specialty. So instead of posting that you're available for freelance work, and you're excited to be on this journey, post about how you've helped e-commerce brands clarify their visual identity through strategy and design, or post about insights from that industry and how, if you were to have a client that had this problem, here's how you would solve it. And if anybody reading that post has this problem, here's what I would suggest you do to eliminate it. Use hooks. Use a hook that calls out your client, their problem, and their dream outcome, right? So somebody who's in your target niche, will stop what they're doing and watch the video or read the post, because you say, this one's for me. Let's see what this person has to say. Let's see if there's anything here that I can pick up and put to work for my business. Let's talk about what to post today. Here's your launch post formula built for Instagram and LinkedIn, called a 3-part format. The first is what you're offering. After 5 years as a blank, I'm officially offering this service, and here's the problem that I'm solving, and here's how I'm solving it, right? Again, money for solutions. Talk about who it's for. It's designed for this specific type of client, who are trying to solve this problem or hit this goal. And then talk about what to do next. If you're that person or that person, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to strategize. I'm happy to talk tactics on this stuff with you. And then pair this with something visual. Pair this with a piece from your portfolio, from one of your case studies, or hell, even just a picture of you. On LinkedIn, that's more real estate. If you pair text with a photo, you take up the whole screen, right? It's more real estate. And on Instagram, people are on Instagram for visuals. So make something that's visually attractive, something that people are going to want to look at. A lot of freelancers ask me what platforms they should be active on. And it's probably not the answer that you want, but the answer is going to be different for every offer. Everybody's got, the answer is it's whatever platform your ideal client is most active on, right? So if that's LinkedIn, for most people, it is LinkedIn. Great. That's where you're going to go be valuable. post, content that's savable and shareable. The answer is Instagram. That's where you're going to go be valuable in content and post content that's savable and shareable. But the answer might be Reddit, right? So you go to Reddit and you play the game of Reddit. The answer might be Facebook. So you go to Facebook and you go get active in the appropriate Facebook groups for your niche. And the goal isn't to post every day. It's to start building awareness and trust in the rooms that matter, right? Get good at that and then post every day. Because once you're good at that, then you can optimize for scale and for quantity. And there is a direct correlation between how much you put on social media and how much you get back from that effort. So, when you're ready, go for it. But until then, master the art of being valuable on social media where your ideal clients are. Try this rhythm. 1 launch post today that's very solution centric, that's problem forward. 1 project breakdown or mini case study next week. Again, you're not just posting a portfolio piece, you're creating something of value from that portfolio piece, something that people will save and share. And then 1 this is what I do, who I help, reminder post every 2 to 3 weeks. And then in between those posts, get active in the comment sections that your industry is active in. That's where the magic's really going to happen when you first get started on social media, right? The party's not on your page. The party's not on your posts. You have to go to where the party is. And that's, the top 25 influencers in your niche. Who are your ideal targets? Who are your ideal target clients following and engaging with? Go there and engage in those comment sections and be valuable in those comment sections a few times a day. Set aside, 3 or 4 15-minute blocks a day to go to that platform and engage in different comment sections. So today's homework, write and post your launch announcement on whatever social platform you've deemed most active in your niche. DM your network a link to that post. It's another way to activate your network. You've already sent a bunch of them emails. A DM on that platform is probably a little less intrusive, so feel free to go real broad here. Link them all to that post and encourage them to engage with it, and tag people that they think might be interested in it. Choose 1 to 2 platforms to stay active on going forward. Like plant your flag in LinkedIn and Facebook, or LinkedIn and Reddit, and decide that those are the places that you're going to show up every day and engage in comments, and show up at least once a week with a new piece of content that you're going to post. And then lastly, start thinking in terms of content buckets. Like what type of content is actually going to be valuable to your target client? What problems do your clients have? What wins can you showcase that would be valuable to your clients? What beliefs or hot takes can you share that would stimulate conversation, in the industry, but again, that would somehow be valuable? Measure everything against that. And we'll call it there. That's your full week. And tomorrow isn't just day 8, it's day 1 of being a real freelancer. Let me close this out. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You just need to take the first few steps. Let's pause for a second. You just watched, I don't know how long this video is going to be, an hour, hour and a half, of someone showing you exactly how to start and scale a freelance business from scratch. You chose a lane, you built an offer, created a portfolio, reached out to your network, launched your presence, and now you're in motion. If you've been stuck for weeks or months thinking, I just don't know where to start, well, now you do. What makes a freelancer successful isn't talent, it's follow through. There are more talented people than you doing worse than you, and less talented people than you doing better. Why? Because they took messy action. They showed up every week. They built real relationships. They solved real problems, and they refused to wait until they're ready, because that's not a real thing. Freelancing isn't about perfection. It's about action. Here's what's possible in 30 to 90 days. If you stick with this, you land 1 to 2 clients, solid clients. You start earning real revenue. You refine your offer. You make it better. You build reputation. You start getting referrals, and you start seeing what it's like to be in control, in charge of your time. From there, you stack projects, you build systems, you scale. You quit your 9 to 5 if that's your goal. You become the go-to name in your niche. It starts with 1 week, just like this. If this video helped you, here's what I'd love. Could you drop a comment and just tell us what your biggest takeaway was, and what action you're taking today? Like, what was your day 1 action? And then could you subscribe? I post freelancing masterclasses like this every week. And growing the audience helps us make even more of these. And then lastly, share it. Send this to a friend who's stuck in the still thinking about it phase, or somebody who you think could be doing a little better. And if you're serious about building a real business out of freelancing, bookmark this video, rewatch it, use it like a blueprint, because you don't need a course. You need a client and a system and a few weeks of of bravery to prove to yourself that you can do this. You've already started. You're here. Keep going.